our next speaker is no other person but our delectable Odiri Oginni. We have our bio already sent ahead of this meeting, and I'm sure some of you have been waiting because you'll be saying, finally, let this number 5 person just speak. Maybe that person will be speaking to my destiny. All right, with excitement, shall we bring to the podium Odiri Oginni for key lessons in my career. You say you are not happy.
Yeah. So how do you speak after having 4 powerful speakers speak before you? I've been cracking my head, though. Sitting down there, I've been saying, what do I want to say again? After all is said and done, let's go home, Abi. Abi? All right. First, let me just appreciate Olayinka for this amazing platform, really. You know, helping to ensure that we find fulfillment in our career. Please don't take this lightly. Don't take it lightly. You know, a lot of ideas, nuggets. You know, we are joking with it, really. You know, but the truth is, if you can just implement one thing from this session, I promise you, you really don't know where your career will be in the next 3, 4, 5 years. And the truth is, it doesn't take long, oh. It doesn't take long. And I'm going to share some of my stories and lessons I've learned. You know, a few years ago, it was a battle. It was a prayer point for me, you know. But today, when I look back, the question I ask myself is, how did I move from point A to point wherever it is, which is where I am today? You know, but a lot of all that has been said today, a lot of all, in short, all that has been said today, you know, when I wrote down, look at my lessons, they're all, it's everything. Every single thing. And sometimes it looks so easy. It's easy to do. It's also easy not to do. And I think the problem is because it's easy to do, we really don't do it. So I'm just going to start with, you know, what Ndidi closed with, or the topic she spoke about, failure, because she actually, for me, she hit a very, very hard nerve. I hate to fail. How many of us have failed? There are people that have not failed. I like to be like you. I actually hate to fail. My first biggest failure was MDCS. Yeah, I started from ATS1, that's ICAN. I started from ATS1, ATS1 pass, ATS2 pass, ATS3 pass, intermediate pass, PE1 pass. I got to PE2, MDCS. That was the only subject I failed in ICAN. You know, and I got so upset that I decided not to write the next diet. You know, but guess what? You know, then I said ATS1 in school, in university. So we had some of our friends and classmates also writing the exam. They also all failed. In short, we all failed MDCS. But those guys went to write the next diet, and me, I was at home, you know, blaming God. I was angry with God. I was so angry with God. I told God, I won't write this exam again. You can't write it yourself. And give me evidence that I've passed. Until I realized that my friends went to write the next diet, and they passed. Shame, catch me. I went to write the other diet, and I passed. So I learned a very big lesson from failure, which is why today one of my biggest lessons that I want to share with you is to embrace failure. I wrote CFA, just like Olayinka. I wrote it for 8 years. I'm a first class. But I wrote CFA for 8 years. Yes. I wrote level 1 4 times. I wrote level 2 3 times. I wrote level 3 3 times. Inka said CFA is one of the toughest exams. Yes, it is. But I failed. And every time I see my result that I fail, I will cry. The next day, I'll go and register again. There are a lot of my friends who stopped on the way because they failed. You know, I remember in 2016 when I saw my results, and then one of my young colleagues said, Odiri, you're so lucky. You started this exam yesterday, and today you're finished. I said, I said, I sat her down. Madam, it's a long journey. I went to the exam hall once with a 7 months pregnancy. Yeah, I have 3 kids. All of them went to CFA exam hall. All of them. Every one of them, either in 1 month or 2 months, or they were 9 months old. So embrace failure. And for me, it's one of the biggest lessons because I started out so afraid to fail. So afraid to fail that when I failed, it hit me so hard. Today, okay, we'll fail, but we'll get up, and we'll get up quickly, and move on. So one of the biggest lessons I think I want everyone to take today is don't be afraid to fail. And when you have this mindset of I'm not afraid to fail, you take risk with your career. Yeah, you take risk with your career. When you tell people you are in a particular unit, I read accounting, my background is actually finance. Accounting, I became CFO. Today I'm CEO of running an asset management business, 5 years now. And when they asked me to go and run that business, the truth is, I'm not a salesperson. In our industry, you're in finance or operations, you're in back office. That's what we call it, back office. So how do you take a back office person to go and run a company? To go and run a front office, a client-facing initiative or business. So in short, I just told myself, these people are setting me up to fail. That's what I told myself. They're setting me up to fail. They should just leave me in my finance. I was group CFO then, United Capital. Just leave me there, let me do my job. They said, no, go and run it. And what positioned me, which is the second thing I want to emphasize, what positioned me actually was my CFA. This is an accountant, ACA, FCA, and then you wrote CFA, you became a charter holder. And then somebody, because in my organization, once you have CFA, when you write your name, you put CFA. So you don't know where that email will go to, and then chairman says, CFA. So when they were now deciding who to go and run this business, somebody says, she has a CFA now, let her go and run it. So that's like setting you up to fail now. She has a CFA, let her go and run it. Just like that. And then I got a call that they are looking for CFO for you. I said, me, I'm CFO. They say they are looking for CVs for CFO. I said, what did I do? I started thinking, but I had a good year now. My boss was okay with meetings. And I called HR. HR said, oh, Odiri, don't worry. It's a good thing. It will work for you. Nobody discussed the opportunity with me at all. All the discussion was behind my back, over my head, And then they said, okay, go and run the business. And for me, I saw it as an opportunity that, yes, they may not know what I'm capable of doing. I probably will even fail, but for me, it was more important that it was not an opportunity to fail, it was an opportunity to make a difference. It was an opportunity to build a legacy, to contribute meaningfully. So embracing failure is one of the biggest things that can actually change your career, because you will not be afraid to take risk. If they move you from your comfort zone to something unknown, something you're not even used to, something you have not learned, you don't have experience, you already have that mindset of, even if I fail, even if I can't do it, I will find out how to do it. Even if I fail, I will get up and I will succeed. And the beauty about that is by the time you succeed big. That's the truth. You succeed big. Once you learn how to embrace failure, you succeed big. Now, the second lesson I want to talk about, I'm going to talk about some of few lessons that relate to, what the previous speaker has said, just to really consolidate, that they're not just talking. It might look simple, but those principles are basically what drives you in your career. So the second thing I'm going to talk about is the biggest career sin that we all commit. Complacency. For me, that's the biggest career sin. Your comfort zone is a dangerous place to be in. And a lot of the time, we are just used to that place. We're not adding value. We're not contributing anything. It's the biggest career sin. When I get CVs and trying to fill a position, and I see somebody has been working for 5 years, the only thing you have is BSc. And you say you have experience. Oh, I have 5 years. And the only thing you have is BSc. You're working 10 years, the only thing you have is BSc. Question I ask, what have you been doing? But I've been working now. I can't combine work with exam. Then you're not adding value. If the only thing that you are doing all through those years is experience, at the end of the day, if you really vet that experience, you find that person says, I have 5 years experience. He's doing the same thing for 5 years. That's 1 year experience. But that's the truth. That's 1 year experience. Somebody says, I've been working for 10 years. What have you been doing? I've been doing this 10 years. You only have 1 year experience. You only have 1 year experience. So for me, it's important for us to understand that complacency can easily set in if you're not challenging yourself. If you're not setting goals and moving towards them and achieving them, you can easily be complacent. And it's very, very easy to be complacent. And the truth is, even when you're doing well, you can't be complacent. How? You can be complacent even when you're doing well. Because if you're achieving, I'm getting an award as the biggest contributor in my company, but you're contributing X, you're getting an award, but you know your capacity is X square. You're complacent there. So complacency is not the fact that you're not contributing or you're just slack no. As long as you have overachieved on that place and you have capacity to do more, you're complacent there. And it's just a matter of time. You just sleep. If you're not growing, you are decaying. You are sliding backward. If you're not growing, you are sliding backward. And for me, I always say that my career really started to thrive from 2017. And one of the things, if I look back before 2017, I realized that a lot of those years, I was very complacent. I was very, very complacent. But by 2017, then I had already become a charter holder. By 2017, my company appointed me as group CFO. And in that position, in short, I remember when that decision was being made, I wasn't privy to it, but I was already scared because I knew it was getting there. They had moved my boss to become MD of the asset management business, and that position was vacant. And I was praying to God not even to get the position because, you're a group CFO of a public company. It means that you have to be on your toes. You are visible. So I was praying to God, no, I don't want this. I'd rather just go and be maybe CFO of a private company or, stay where I am, where there's a boss. I'm not used to, that veil being removed. Your boss is actually a veil covering you. That's what you really don't know. Yes, your boss is actually a veil covering you. So I was already so used to that veil that I was afraid that if they remove and they put me on that position, it's a public company. So as a CFO of a public company, you are visible. Anything happen is your face on newspaper. I remember when they appointed me, the first time I saw my face on the newspaper. Yes, because media will carry it. I was too scared. But I realized now you can't just be complacent. You can't just afford to just enjoy your comfort zone. I started reading. I read every CFO report from all the top 4 professional service firms. KPMG had a CFO masterclass publications that they do. I read everything. PwC did. EY. So I read and read and read. In short, it was in 2017 I came in contact with what they call imposter syndrome. In short, the day I stumbled on it, I said, wow. So there's a word like this in a dictionary. The next day when I woke up, I went to check the dictionary to ensure that that word was still in the dictionary. Because it just reflected me. All I was experiencing was, it was not a case of you don't have capacity. Yeah, I was a chartered accountant with how many years experience. I've worked in finance, I've worked in audit. So what is it? I just felt I didn't deserve it. I didn't deserve it. So when I saw that word, I said, oh, so there's a word for it. The good thing is that once there's a name for it, it's easier to manage it. Once you start feeling, I say, okay, this is you, so I know you. But it's important for me that I learned how to come out of being complacent. And that was for me, being visible, being at that spotlight where you cannot afford to make a mistake. You cannot afford to, to not know your onions. Because you can be called into any meeting. From that point, I started presenting the company's financials at a board meeting. And you're presenting it's easier for them to say, what is it? And you can't afford that. So the responsibility was not on me to ensure that, you cannot afford to be complacent. You cannot afford to be complacent. So for me, that was one of the second major lessons I learned, that your career sin of complacency, you have to ask for forgiveness and you have to move on from it. And then I think it was Yinka that talked about your career is your responsibility. A lot of the time, we really don't realize that our career is our responsibility. We wait for HR to send us to training. We wait for the organization to send us to training. We look at ourselves and say, if my company is not training me, then why should I train myself after I'm working with them? Is the knowledge they put inside of me that I'm going to give to them. You know, that kind of mindset. And I see this mindset everywhere. I have younger colleagues and they're waiting for you to train. I ask them, which professional exam are you writing? Which professional exam are you writing? Today I'm doing a PhD. By God's grace, I'm supposed to graduate next year. Yeah, I finished CFA 2016. I finished my MBA about 2 years ago, started my PhD. And someone is saying, are you combining this thing with your work? I said, because I don't want tomorrow at the end. You see, the truth is, if you're not learning, you are decaying. If you are not learning, you are decaying. You are decaying. And the truth, your experience and the work you do will never give you that level of knowledge that you need to be relevant. It will not. And you get to a certain level where, you know, you are stuck. And a lot of us really are stuck in our career. A lot of us, they didn't promote me. But we've all been in situations where, you know, we craved for promotion. We wanted to be promoted. We felt we deserved to be promoted, but we weren't promoted. And some people work out, you know, some people, how you want to express yourself. But for me, I realized from that point, it is really not about promotion. It's not about promotion. I was what? I was maybe associate then. On the CADA, people complain our grading system, we are about 15 or 14 levels. I was probably associate. You know, today I'm at the highest level. This is 2017, 6 years after. I didn't have to take that step like that. Yeah, I didn't have to. So it's really not about promotion. And then when I tell people that it's really not about promotion. You can be climbing the ladder probably every 2 years, every 3 years. It's about value. It's about time and chance. It's about value, and it's about time and chance. And for me, we talk about tagline. My tagline is time and chance. You know, time and chance, which is why, you know, when I decide to go through the lessons I've learned, you know, I decide to zero down on what is that key lesson? That lesson that I'm not telling my past self. You know, yes, this is what I've learned, but I'm also telling my future self. What is that key lesson in my career? And it's this. Don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. Don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. For me, that's my biggest career lesson so far. It's relevant for my past. It's also relevant for my future. Don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. A lot of us are in a hurry to sit at the table. And it's not anybody's fault. You know, these days, there's a lot of talk about visibility, you know, networking, you know. You set your goals, you get it now. Too many talks. So we are not preparing ourselves to sit at the table. We are just so much in a hurry to sit at the table. There is a lot of process. That's why I like so much time and chance. Your time will come. Your opportunity will come. The question is, are you prepared for your time and chance? Are you prepared for your opportunity? So many people have been given a platform. They've been given an opportunity. You know, they've been given a seat at the table. You know, these days they'll say, if they don't give you a seat at the table, you grab it, or you go and create your own table. It's too many things, and it's just messing up with our minds. Don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. If you are not prepared for it, if you are not ready for it, don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. Because there's a lot of work that goes into getting to the table. But more importantly, there's a lot of work involved in staying at that table. Yes, you don't just want to get there. You want to stay there. And that's the truth. I mean, you just want to get there. You want to get there and stay there. So if all you are focused on is getting to the table, you will get to the table. The question is, will you stay on that table, or they will have to kick you out of the table? And again, with this social media stuff, when people get to the table, what they want to do, you know, this media freeze, snap picture and put the arm at the table. So, which is why it's so easy to get to the table now. It's really, really so easy to get to the table now. The question is, are people staying at the table? And people, there's a law of process. I so enjoy listening to that law of process, because at the end of the day, you will not give your 10-year-old child your car, no matter how much you love that child, to drive. You will wait for that child to get to the level where the child is ready to use that car. But a lot of the time, and you see that across, these days in this startup investing, they are raising so much money, starting up business in your 20s. Even when you are under 20, you are starting up a business, raising money. It's just so easy. Success is looking so easy to get. But the problem is, a lot of us are not staying with that success. I had a friend told me about, her colleague who, was appointed CEO about 3 years ago. At that appointment, her boss was asked to retire. The second person and third person were asked to retire. So opportunity just came to her. She was number 4 in the company. And by that reason of that, she was made CEO. She didn't last there up to 2 years. And it was really painful. It was really painful, because for me, that was your moment. That was an opportunity. That was a platform for you. But because a lot of the time we are just so focused on getting there, we don't invest the time, we don't invest the patience, we don't invest, to ensure that when we get there, we even know what to do. Because anybody can sit at the table. What's the essence of getting to the table? It's not to occupy space now. You get to the table not to occupy space. You get there to contribute. You get there to ensure that at the end of the day, you leave a meaningful impact. Which is why you see some people, by the time they get an opportunity, after they leave the opportunity, by the time they look back, they keep saying, oh, I would have done this thing. I would have done this. It shows they weren't ready for that opportunity. And at the end of the day, you probably just wasted it. Yes, they didn't kick you out of it, but you spent 4 years, 5 years, and you have little or nothing to show for it. Why? Because you were either not ready for the opportunity, you were not competent and capable, and you have nothing to show. No meaningful impact, no lasting impact, no contribution to either the organization or the society. So for me today, I think the message for today really is, don't be in a hurry to sit at the table until you are ready to sit at the table. And what do I need to do to be ready to sit at the table? Number 1, develop yourself. Develop yourself. We've talked about this already. Invest in yourself. What is the skills that you need to thrive? If peradventure today they say, oh, Odiri, come and be Minister of Finance, am I ready? Or they say, Olayinka, come and be partner at EY. Are you ready? You might be thinking in your head, oh, but are you ready? What are the skills I need to thrive in that goal, in that position that I'm seeking? What do I need? What education, what training do I need to get? What experience do I need to get? Experience is called experience. You don't buy it with money. It's experience. It means you must experience it. You must feel it. Yes. It's experience. You must feel it. What experience do I need, for that particular role? And don't see, experience is a very tricky thing. I'm a CEO of asset management business. I didn't have any experience running an asset management business. But a lot of the things that have helped me thrive on this role is my experience in different areas. I was CFO, I was a financial controller, I've written checks and taken to signatories to sign. I've signed the instruction and gone to the bank. I've done everything, both the good, as I tell my colleagues, the thing you are doing that you think is small, I did it. I did every single thing. A lot of those experience working with HR, working with the operations team, working with the, is basically what has helped me to thrive in my current role. So experience does not necessarily mean that you must have done the job or this particular job, something similar. No. Look at even the role you are doing and say, okay, to be CEO or to be head of this unit, I need to have understanding of this particular thing. How do I get that understanding? Do I need to, find a way to be talking to, people who are currently doing that? How do I get that experience? Because at the end of the day, when you are on that seat, it's actually a hot seat. And it's a very lonely seat. Yeah. It's a very lonely seat, though, I must tell you. You can't cry now. People say, why you cry? We look up to you and you're crying. It's a very lonely seat, I must say. And it's a hot seat. A lot of the things you are doing, a lot of the decisions you are making on the spot. In other words, there must be a well, that you have filled yourself, so that when you are talking, it's on the spot. There's no time to go and research and be reading. It's a lonely seat. It's a hot seat. So, which is why I said, don't be in a hurry to sit at the table until you are well prepared, until you are competent enough, until you understand what it takes to sit at the table. So what other things does it take to sit at the table? I've talked about skills, I've talked about experience, I'll talk about patience now. Someone you talked about your career. Your career is actually a journey. It's a journey, long-term view. It's not a sprint. And a lot of time we look at it as a sprint. I think I have by January, it will be about 18 years. 18 years experience. If I go back and unpack that experience, what I've learned, areas I've worked on, roles I've done, you realize that you can predict the pattern. So your career is a journey. It's not a 100-meter dash. It's a long-term view. And so when you set a goal, I actually set a goal that I wanted to be a CEO. That was when I actually set a goal I wanted to be a CEO at 37. I was reading one of Toyin Sonny's book, and she said she became a CEO at 37. She set the goal. So on the back of that, she used to be my boss. I said, okay, maybe 37 is a good age to be a CEO. So I set a goal to be a CEO at 37. I set that goal maybe when I was 33 or 32. I actually achieved that at 34. And the reason is this. Sometimes you've overworked yourself, your system, that your system probably, you are deceiving your system. Your system thinks you are 37. And that's the truth. Yeah, you set a goal, but it has to be a long-term goal. I set the goal for long-term, but I was overworking and over-preparing myself for that goal. I actually didn't know it was going to take a short time. Maybe a lot of mistakes probably I've made, some lessons that I probably felt I should have learned before that role, that I didn't learn, that I was forced to learn on the job, and I'll talk about that one. But at the end of the day, your career is a long-term view. Your career is a journey. It's not a sprint. It's not 100-meter dash. It's there for the long term. There are people who are 70 who are still doing great stuff. That you did not become CEO at the age that you wanted. I actually wanted to finish my CFA at the age of 30. I finished it at the age of 32. So some things work, some things don't work. It doesn't mean that the fact that I did it at 32, it means that I failed. The most important thing I did it. Yes, the most important thing I did it. So being patient with your career and allowing, one of the things that patience does is that it allows you to learn, and experience. It gives you the opportunity to experience the things that you need to experience. Because if you're just so much in a hurry, you don't get that experience. If you're so much in the experience, you don't enjoy, you don't take it in. You don't take it in. If I ask you, what is your role now? You say, I'm an analyst. What do you do as an analyst? Because you're so eager I want to get to the next level. You've not drawn wisdom. You've not drawn inspiration from being an analyst. This is what I do as an analyst, and I enjoy it. Being patient helps you to get to that point where you just enjoy that moment. You enjoy, even if that moment is the lowest job in your organization, but you just enjoy it. That shows that you're ready for the next level. But when you begin to complain and complain and complain, it just clouds your mind in such a way that you're not taking in from what you're supposed to take in at that point in time. So being patient is very, very important for your next level, and also very important to prepare you to sitting at the table. And then another point I want to talk about is embracing challenges. and viewing them as opportunities for growth, because there will always be challenges. There will always be challenges. It could be challenges with your boss. I had a boss, a great boss. You know, we talked about mentors and sponsors. I had a great boss who was my sponsor. You know, he would say, if I just have 2 or 3 Odiri in my team, I'm fine. That was when I was a low-level analyst, in quotes. You know, if I just have 2 or 3 Odiri in my team, I'm fine. You know, and that gave me the visibility I need. But I got to a certain level, I realized that I didn't know how to manage the relationship. Because at the point in time, you know, when your boss has been projecting you, and you now get to a level where you're almost equal in the organization, it becomes a problem. That's the truth. So how do I manage this challenge? It was a big problem. You know, at the end of the day, this same person who was projecting me will now go to meetings and kind of, you're not competing and trying to like undermine me. It was a challenge I was inexperienced to, you know, to handle. You know, we started competing. You know, he would say, even me, I want to show, I can do it. I probably would have calmed down a bit. But it was a challenge. It was a challenge that I didn't know how to handle. It was a challenge that probably I was inexperienced to handle. Because the truth is, people have egos, whether you like it or not. Whether it's your boss, your colleague, they all have their own ego. You know, so maybe when I go to meetings, he expects me to acknowledge him too. But me, I'll say, I want to also show that I can do the job now. Why would I be giving you credit? If I give you credit, maybe they will say, maybe this is the man that is doing the job. Or maybe she's not even competent to do the job. You know, don't forget that when I came into that role, I was a bit inexperienced too. You know, and I was trying to find my feet and also find my own voice and tell myself, oh, I can do it, I can do it. But it was a challenge. And it was a challenge that I wasn't prepared for to handle. And a lot of people have lost opportunities or lost, you know, things as a result of mismanaging that kind of challenge. I'm just grateful to God that I learned in the course of my role how to manage that challenge. But it's a big challenge, which is why I keep saying, don't be in a hurry to sit at the table. Embrace challenges and view them as opportunities for growth. For me now, you know, when I see younger people get into that senior level, I tell them, this is something you will face. They say, you will face it. In one form or the other, you will face it. You just have to be prepared to know how you will handle it when you get there. Because it can be the beginning, it can be the, you know, it can be something that can impact even your next level growth. For me, you know, along the line, we are both, the good thing was, you know, he was a sponsor, but I learned to build, you know, relationship with other people that are his own peers too, who could also act as sponsor. So I remember my boss's boss was telling me, Odiri, learn to manage your boss. I got the message. And that's the truth. So it's a challenge that will always come up. You know, it's a challenge you may not experience in the course of your getting to that stage, but you get to that particular stage, and it's a challenge for you. And then earning your seat at the table. You see, imposter syndrome comes when we feel that we've not earned our seat at the table, which is why earning your seat at the table is very important. And imposter syndrome can be dangerous. It can affect you because it hits hard at your confidence. It hits so hard at your confidence. You go into a meeting and all you are trying to do, because you want everybody to like you, you are deferring to everybody. People will see it. People will notice. People will notice. You are at senior level, you go to meetings and you cannot own up to that decision. It's, this person, whether it's from a younger colleague or your boss. Earn your seat at the table. And earning your seat at the table takes time. It takes honing your skills. It takes experience. It takes knowing your job and knowing it very well. I always say, be so good at what you do that you cannot be ignored. You know, you said we should be the very best. So I've changed it. Be the very best at what you do, and you will not be ignored. And that's the truth. You know, when you are good at what you do, you know, it may take time, but people will always defer to you. He knows the job. Because at the end of the day, even if this other person is popular, but that person is incompetent, you are popular and incompetent, people will be tired. They'll be tired of incompetence at a certain time, and then they will come to you. And that's really your moment. Which is why, for me, time and chance, Very, very important, because your time will come. Your time will come. That opportunity will come. The question is, when it comes, you are ready for it. When it comes, you are prepared for it. When it comes, you are able to sit on the table with confidence. I remember when I was appointed CEO, because I didn't have sales background, my mind was just playing around with me. I will pitch to companies and I will want to be the one to go and present. I had a team I was working with. I will go along with them, but I want to be the one to present. It's not your core competence now. Sales is not your core competence. But I just wanted to say, this is how I'm contributing to my team. Until somebody sat me down. I said, Odiri, chasing money and running around will not help you. Focus on what is your core competence. I'm very good in strategy, setting a vision, clear, that's my leadership strategy, a vision, that's my strength. Finance, that's my strength. That's my core competence. And so I left that and I was competing on the sales side, to show my team, I can do it. How would they bring somebody from finance to come and run a business when there are people in the business? But when that mentor said to me, I said to stay on my lane. So I would get opportunities because as a CEO, as a leader, your job is to sell the company. You may not necessarily sell the product, but by selling the company, you're selling the product. So if all you're running around is I'm selling the product, that's sell the company, sell the vision, you sell it to your team, you sell it to the stakeholders, you sell it to your client. By the time you sell it, the business will come. And then you pass it on to your people. Not trying to be the one to execute it because you feel, this is the only way I can contribute. And for me, it was one of the things I was struggling with. But when that mentor said to me, I said, okay, I will stay on my lane. I will do and contribute from the point of view of, what I'm used to, for my strength, really. And when I say focusing on my lane, it helped. You will do your own. I do my own. And together, the organization is going straight. But it's more important when you understand that you have earned that seat. I struggled with, I didn't earn this role. I struggled with, I did not earn this role. I didn't earn my seat. Why? Because I felt, from a back office to a front office, even when by the time you look back, you say, she can do the job, yes. But from a mindset point of view, it was important for me to also earn my seat at the table. And by the time you understand that you have earned this seat at the table, you are able to contribute. You are able to deliver value. You are able to, leave a meaningful and a lasting legacy. Have you ever chased a butterfly before? Yes. Did you catch it? No. Why? You see, when you chase a butterfly, it will elude you. You can never catch it. But imagine if you create a beautiful garden. All the butterflies will come. All the butterflies will come. So success is really not what you pursue. Success is what you attract by being a person of value. Thank you.